Hi everyone, my name is Vince Gelman, and this morning I I woke up and it hit me one more time um, how much children suffer in our world, and I just broke down in tears, and I needed to speak about it a bit more, furthering on from a previous video I made about it, and yeah, I just laid in bed and wept, thinking about how much children suffer in our world and how much they've suffered historically. In my work as a healer, I've listened to so many stories of what my clients have gone through in terms of just the ways they've been beaten and neglected and just tortured in many ways. And of course, I see videos on social media of how children are treated and or read news reports, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking. And when I was crying this morning, you know, it's actually a beautiful experience because, on the one hand, I'm crying because of the suffering. It's beautiful because I'm letting that suffering hit me where it needs to hit me if I'm going to really be of service to the world. It's hitting me in the heart, and it's hitting me hard in the heart, and it's hitting me deep in the heart. And if we are going to be of service and to end this pattern, this long-standing pattern of suffering in our world, of children being just so tortured in many ways, it has to hit us that deeply. It has to hit us deeply in the heart. It's only from that heartbreak that we can truly be of service. And the first step in heartbreak is actually not having more information about what's going on in the world. In my humble opinion, the first step in heartbreak is us turning towards the wounded child within, our inner child. Turning towards that inner child and taking seriously what happened to him or her. And I'll just say him, just to make it easy. What happened to him? Taking seriously what happened to him. Not minimizing what happened to him, which is what we do to cope and survive. We cope and survive as children by minimizing, by making not so bad or no big deal what's happening to us. We normalize it. We have to survive. But this pattern continues later on in adulthood, where we unconsciously diminish or discount altogether what happened to us as children, and that is projected outwards in our inability to truly feel for and make a big deal. Feel for the children suffering of the world and to make a big deal what's actually happening in the world. When we embark on a healing journey, we not only turn towards our inner child and have to confront the uncomfortable truths of what happened, which may include surfacing memories, implicit memories, memories of things we've forgotten for decades that happened, such as sexual abuse. It's not just uncovering information, visceral information, but it's feeling for what happened to that child within. Feeling the gut-wrenching anger, the how dare you do this to me. Feeling that outrage. And then usually after that it's the grief, it's the sadness, it's the deep bending over and weeping that you as a child actually endured that, and that it can actually happen at all in this world. See, when we don't go on a healing journey, when we don't commit to the journey, we remain separate from our inner child. The inner parent remains largely inactive, and it cannot give empathy to the inner child. So the inner child remains alone in many ways. It remains abandoned. And that inner separation what that does is it creates a worldview of separation. It perpetuates a worldview of separation so that the little girl in Egypt who is getting genital mutilation done to her with a knife, with a rusty knife, or the little boy in the Philippines who's getting beaten and beaten and beaten with a bamboo stick. We remain separate from that. We may have information about what those children are going through, and it may affect us a little bit, but we soon forget about it in the same way we've forgotten about our inner child. So we cannot really let the truth, the magnitude of world suffering hit us in our heart if we haven't let our own suffering hit us in the heart. And so it is sad for me to think that the vast majority of our Western world does not want to commit to the healing path. Because it is not only, are we not being in service to ourselves, but we're not being in service to the world. There was a time in my healing journey at the beginning where it was very much about me and what I went through. But as I went further along in my healing work, I realized that my personal work was actually world work. It was the work the world needed. Because as I became more of an advocate for my inner child and stood up for my inner child and had my inner child's back and took my inner child's pain seriously, I could then advocate and take seriously the suffering of children in the world. I could let it hit me home where it needs to hit me home in my own heart, because now I could feel compassionately for those children suffering throughout the world because I felt compassionately for the child within. This is a far cry from what we do, which is generally turn our back on our inner child and just go on so-called living, which is actually more just surviving. We are coping because the pain was that big. When we were abused as children physically, sexually abused, when we were neglected, when we had a depressed mom or a terrorizing father, or a bullying sibling who no parent protected us from, or we had bullies at school that no parent or school teacher protected us from, or we had a grandparent or an uncle or an aunt who sexually violated us, and our parent did not take our words seriously when we told them, and our parent made us still sit on the lap of that person. So not only did the parent discount our pain, but the parent also made us sit in close, intimate proximity with that person who is the abuser. You see, we normalize this. This is all okay. And so we go on living with a survival physiology that discounts our own suffering unconsciously, and we just don't want to turn towards the inner child and feel for the inner child because we are a society afraid of feeling. And if we are a society that is afraid of feeling, we are a society that cannot adequately feel for the suffering of the world. And that's not just children. I'm talking about animals who are tortured into what we call food, or Mother Earth who is suffering, or the suffering of teenagers or adults for that matter. Our capacity to have empathy is an earned quality. It's earned. It is earned through the arduous, heroic journey of feeling for our inner child, of taking a stand for our inner child. It is earned. If we want the world to change, and I don't know anyone who doesn't, this is what it takes, everyone. We have to begin to take seriously what happened to us and stop discounting it and stop diminishing it. We are one big family on this planet. We are all one. We are all brothers and sisters. So as I go into my heart and feel the heartbreak for what happened to me as a child, I can then more fully feel the heartbreak that is needed. I need to feel this heartbreak for the child across the planet who's getting beaten. That heartbreak is essential if I'm going to be of service. Because when the heart breaks, when the heart breaks open further and further, it opens my capacity to feel and express love. And it's in that heartbreak, in that opening, that light comes in. Light comes in from our soul. And it's that light that makes the difference. We can only do so much with our mind. We can only do so much with doing. We need the being that comes with heartbreak, the being that comes from being a soul, a bright, powerful soul, a bright light that can be of service and guide the human in ways the mind cannot. That light comes into this planet through heartbreak. That light is the force we need to light up the dark room, because it's only light that is going to light up the dark room that we're in, the long-standing dark room of suffering. So it is our sacred duty, in my opinion, our sacred duty to practice noble suffering. And I believe it was Gabor Mate who coined that term, noble suffering. I'm not sure, but I like the term noble suffering because there's nobility in turning towards the suffering of our child within. There's nobility in feeling for that child, which can feel like suffering. And in that, there's nobility because we can translate that into noble work, noble world work, noble service. Suffering plays a part in our world right now. Its purpose is to break our heart open to who we really are, so we can bring more of who we are at the soul level into this world. That's what these times demand. That's what every child across the world who is suffering and no one is there for them, that's what they're calling out for. We are the ones. We are the ones. And we are the ones, and we make far more of a difference than we realize just by healing. Irrespective of what we do, we end the cycle of abuse in our ancestral line. And we create vibrational ripples of change across the planet by healing the wounded child. This is our sacred duty. And I felt called, as you can tell by my voice, I felt called to speak about this today. And I hope this inspires you to have the courage to begin the heroic journey of doing your healing, which will open you to awakening to who you are and how you can be of service. And if you want support with your healing journey, please contact me. I heal people around the world. It doesn't matter where you are, with the magic and power of starlight. It is an advanced technology. I do not market this because I need the business. I say this to you because I want to be of service. I do not need the business. I just want to accelerate, in my opinion, what needs to happen at this time. And the information I will put in the description. I'm also going to put in the description an article that I hope will add further information to what I'm talking about here. As always, if this video inspired you, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please click notifications. There will be much more, much more. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. And take a stand for your inner child.